Yo, what is up, all you gamers out there? The name is Tekken Heat, and I feel like this video has been long overdue. We have now been a month with Need for Speed. Alright, Need for Speed's gone through a month. We've had different patches, a couple of DLCs come out, and Christmas is right around the corner. We're just a few days away till Christmas comes. So now the question stands: should you buy Need for Speed for Christmas? Throwing it right out, I believe so. The prices have gone down. Last time I checked on GameStop, I found one for about $40. So there was a $20 price drop, and I feel like $40 is a very good price range for a lot of games. So right out the back, yes, you should buy it. Now, let me explain to you on the game, if you have not been keeping up with it, if you have never played it, and if it's just something that's kind of on your radar a little. Let me explain to you guys about the game. So, story-wise, the story is pretty simple, but at the same time, it's pretty good. What it's about, it revolves around the 5 ways to play Need for Speed. You have your speed, you have your style, you have your crew, your build, and your outlaw. What each of these are: speed revolves around going as fast as you can without losing control. Style more so revolves around the drifting side. Your crew revolves around driving with a pack. Your build revolves around creating the most balanced car you can. And then your outlaw is you against the cops. Now, how does this pertain to the story? Well, in each of these ways to play, there is an icon, a famous real-life icon that is played in the game, and your goal is to impress each one of them. And to get up to that level, you are helped out by a group of friends that you meet at the beginning of the game, each specialize in their certain way to play, and their goal is to help you impress the icon. So for speed, whose icon is Magnus Walker, you have Spike helping you out, and Spike is one of those stereotypical rich kids who thinks they know everything in the car scene, and who's all about, you know, wearing the most like expensive stuff, and he tries to play it. He's also trying to play it cool, man. He tries to be like the cool rich kid. So for him, you'll grow to either like him or just not so hate him, but just really get irritated by him because he's got that kind of attitude, that immaturity and stuff. So he's a love or hate kind of guy. For style, you have Ken Block as the icon, and the person who helps you out is Manu, which is personally my favorite character. Manu is a very chill guy, and he's not one to really snap on people. He's very laid back. He's kind of what some people might call a teddy bear. So I really do like him. I like that chill feel because that's how I am, and especially since I love the drifting scene, the style is definitely my favorite way to play. For your crew, you have Risky Devil, and the person who helped you out is Robin, who is kind of that pretty girl and has kind of a bit of a, I don't want to say a sluttish or a hoary personality, but there will be times when you look at her like, alright, she's kind of a bit too comfortable amongst a lot of the men. Now up next, you have Build, and the icon for that is Nakai-san, and the person who helps you out is Amy, who is probably my second favorite person. I don't know, there's just something about her where you have no problem with her. There's no complaint you have. She just wants to be, you know, she just wants to impress Nakai-san so much. She wants to build the perfect car. She seems to be really into the car scene. Well, they all are, but she seems like really respect the cars for what they are and try to make the best out of all of them. And she is actually the most important character in the entire story, because without beating her missions, you cannot progress your car far enough. So you can't buy any of the customization parts, you cannot buy mods, anything that you need to build your car up. You need to beat her missions first. So I highly recommend you finishing off Amy's missions as fast as you can, because if you don't, you will be struggling quite a lot. And this is the mistake I've been making, is I've been pushing her on the back burner and just going with the others, and I'm slowly kind of regretting it, because I'm hitting certain events where it's like my car is just not up to the level where it's supposed to be at, but all of my parts that I can still put on are still locked off because I haven't done Amy's missions. So if you're gonna buy the game, make sure you focus on Amy a lot. You will get ahead real quick. Now lastly, you have Outlaw, whose icon is Morohoshi-san, and the person who helps you out is actually a mysterious person. So there won't be, there aren't any spoilers. He is revealed, I will tell you, but that's like later on into Outlaw missions, so I'm not going to spoil anything. If you want to see it though, just check out my Let's Play. It's already either posted out or it's about to be soon. So I'm not going to tell you guys what's going to happen in this review, but if you do want to check things out, just check out my Let's Play. That's all I gotta say. So those are the 5 ways to play. Your goal is pretty much impress each one of the icons, and that's pretty much it. Might not sound as impressive, but the thing that I like about this story is that you kind of grow to the characters. You start feeling a bit of a connection. You see their personality. It's not one of those generic things where everybody's just straight faced. It's, there are actually kind of emotions or conflicts that are going on. A lot of it is kind of cliche, but that's something I don't mind in some video games. As long as it's something still kind of engaging, I don't have too much of a problem with it. I just wish though that your character had a bit more emotion, because your character is one of those straight face, no emotion whatsoever. You're playing pretty much as a first person, as if you yourself were in the game. So you're not exactly playing as a character, you're more so playing as yourself. And multiple times I like how a lot of people pick that up, saying how, oh, you're not much of a talker, because you literally have no lines. So it's funny how people pick that up, like, oh, you're not much of a talker and stuff, when in reality it's kind of true in the game. So that's that. Now going on into a lot of the features. For the past few years, Need for Speed has kind of drifted away from its underground era of customizations and imports and really in-depth stuff that a lot of us have missed. However, Need for Speed 2015, they have come back to those roots. They have some of the most insane customizations I have ever seen in any game. We have a ton of different body mods, like wide bodies, fender flares, whole bunch of different bumpers, side skirts, exhausts, spoilers, or wings if you want to call it that. There are a lot of varieties. Now I have heard though that for some cars, like the Ferrari F40, I believe, pretty much the last car you can buy in the game, has literally nothing. Now I'm hoping, because we're starting to see it happen now with the Legends update just coming out, is that they're kind of answering to those questions and they're putting out customization options to a lot of the cars. This recent one, they just put out over 100 different customization parts to like 5 different cars. So I feel like they're really listening, and over time a lot of those complaints about how, oh, this car doesn't have many customization options, I feel like that will be answered real soon. So fingers crossed. And I also know that also has to do with some licensing stuff. They might have the car license, but they're probably not really allowed to put some modifications onto it. There's some people that just want their cars to just be stock and stuff and not in a way ruined by the gamers. So it's just a whole bunch of, you know, background stuff that we don't know. So that's just something I can't complain about too much, because it's a legal thing. So that's something you just need to understand and just be sorry, and just be happy with what you get. And at least they're answering to a lot of people's complaints, where they're trying their best to please the fans. Something though that I really do wish that they didn't do was a garage limit. What they decided to do was limit your garage to a 5-car lot garage. And I think the reason why they did that was because there are 5 ways to play, so they wanted, or they kind of had the idea of each car represents one of the 5 ways to play. You can have a speed build, you can have a drift build, a balance build, one to just mess around with friends, and probably one to just get away from the cops. That's my thought. They never, or at least to my knowledge, they never explained why they did it. But that's just something we're going to have to deal with. Hopefully they increase the garage lot, because it is kind of a bummer sometimes when you have to sell some of your cars just to test out or just buy another one. But at the same time though, I like the fact that even though you sell your car, you can keep some of the stuff that you already had onto the car, like visual mods. You still have them pre-owned. Any vinyl customizations, you can save your entitled wraps. So that's all a good thing. So if you don't like the car that you bought, to replace your previous one, you can just buy your sold one and just put all your stuff on there as if nothing ever happened. Although you do have to kind of retune the car, which, let me explain that. The tuning is something that I really do enjoy, and it's something a little kind of new that Need for Speed is going to. So if you're expecting a tuning system like Forza, well, it's not up to that extent, because Need for Speed is still kind of arcade-ish, but they still have a bit of a simulation feel, just not as heavy. It's still more toward the arcade side, which I have no problem with. So when it comes to tuning, you can tune your car to either a grip build or a drift build, and they have a couple sliders where you can fine tune your car, or you can do the master slider, where if you slide the master slider all the way toward drift, that puts everything at the bottom toward drift, so it makes things a lot easier. But I highly recommend you guys just do some fine tuning, because not every car is different. There are some cars that can probably, you know, do a lot better with a slightly less tune than, say, another car. And my description of that might have been a little complicated, but it's one of those things where if you hop onto the game and you tune it yourself, you will understand that not every car can be tuned the same. Yeah, you can still do it, but it's a lot better if you just kind of gave each car its unique tune, because it will work a lot better that way. Now, if you guys are worrying about the car list, my thing is I like kind of quality over quantity. And what I mean by that is right now we have 51 cars in the car list. Some people might say that's okay. Some people might say that's way too little. I myself say that's okay, because there is a lot of customization that you can do to a lot of these cars. Now, I've seen Forza Horizon 2, and they have a bit of a balance. They have a lot of cars, but the customization, even though it's there, it's not to the extent as Need for Speed. I don't think any game can compare to Need for Speed's customization right now, because of how in-depth it can be. But I wouldn't mind though if they did add in a couple more cars, because there are some that, you know, they're really missing out on, like at least for me, I was actually really shocked when I found out that there was no 350 or 370Z. When I heard that, I'm like, what are you guys doing? Like, that's almost a requirement in any racing game. Like, what is this? At least they did put in like Skylines and Supras, a lot of big name cars. And something they also did was put in a variety. So they have very low end sleeper cars, like they have a Volvo, they have an old GTI, they have a 180, and then they'll have some mid-tier, you know, iconic cars like the Skyline, the Supra, the RX-7, the Evo. Then they'll have some higher cars like the Aventador, the Huracan, the 458. They vary, and it's not just tuners, it's muscles and exotics. So I really like the fact that they didn't just focus on one group alone. They're focusing on a bit of a variety, and hopefully they add in a lot more in the future. Lastly, I want to talk about is the DLC, which is something that's pretty much unavoidable nowadays. Every game is going to have DLC, microtransactions, or whatnot. However, Ghost Games is one of the very few that's doing it right, because they're throwing out free patches or DLC, if you want to say it. Keep in mind, like I just said, it's all free, at least so far, because there's some companies that might change their business model and just make you pay for some stuff. Till that happens, all the stuff that we're getting right now is free. We just got 2 different updates that they like to call, instead of DLC, they call them updates. We got the icons update, which put in a couple more wraps. It's brought in a couple new features, nothing too big, mainly a lot of bug fixes, but it was still a pretty nice update. The Legends one, however, is something that I hope they can continue, because what's going on in the Legends update is they're bringing back a lot of old memorable things. For instance, the main event that goes on in the Legends update is the return of Eddie from the Underground series. And if they keep on doing that, like if they start doing the return of Cross or the Blacklist, stuff like that, that would be insane. Maybe they might bring Ryo Watanabe from Pro Street, which is something that literally just came to my head. That would be insane. Or maybe bring back Ryan Cooper. Since they have the 180, they can just put in his 180 from Pro Street and bring in here, you know, stuff like that. If they continue that, that would be insane, especially if it's all still free like we are getting now. I feel like there's going to be so much content in this game that it's going to be very hard to complain about it. You know, so there are some people who are just like, oh, there's not enough of this, or oh, it's kind of lacking. But you can say that they're still adding in more content and they're not charging you for it, at least for now. They're not charging you for any of this content. So if you kind of iffy on what you're seeing now, just keep in mind, this isn't the final thing. There's going to be a lot more things coming, and we're only a month in and we've already gotten 2 pretty good updates. Who knows, maybe every month we'll get more and more updates. We don't know yet, but if we do, I'd be very, very excited for it. So you kind of know my stance on the game. I really do like the game. I love it. I say it deserves an 8 out of 10 in my opinion. There are a couple of things that they could fix or improve upon, but from what the game was at launch to where it is now, they done a lot of improvements. Like if you were to ask me on to review it day 1, I'd probably say a 7. You know, I know a point may not sound too much, but to some people it can make all the difference on whether or not they should buy it now or later. But back then I would have given it a 7, because there were a couple of things that they need to fix, like the AI rubber banding, the constant calls you get from the characters. and the physics and such, but from just a month, they've thrown out multiple updates. They've thrown out multiple, not so much updates, but patches on improving a lot of stuff, and you can greatly notice it. The rubber banding isn't as strong because now you're really starting to struggle in catching up, or yeah, you're also struggling to just catch up to these players, and you're also seeing that they're struggling to keep up with you, so it feels more legit. You're seeing, you know, a lot less rapid calls from these people, and I really love that. And I think in the Legends update you can even mute your phone, so you don't have to worry about that at all, which is something I know a lot of people wish, and now they have. The physics, it feels slightly better now. I love it. I love the physics to begin with, because I do love the more arcadish style, but it feels like that they're trying to, you know, help us out, that they're trying to, you know, cater to the things we've been asking for, and I really do enjoy that. I feel like Ghost Games are doing a really good job, and if they continue this, Need for Speed could just be the #1 racing game of this time. Not saying of all time, but where we are now, it could possibly dethrone the Forza that I believe has taken the throne after, you know, Need for Speed pretty much dropped from its origins. That's just me. Let me know what you guys feel. If you guys have played Need for Speed, put in the comments down below how you feel about it. If you're thinking about picking up Need for Speed and you have more questions, please do ask. I will answer them, because there may have been stuff that I might have missed, but I feel like I got majority of it, and I think it was a good thing that I decided to wait a while, because I feel like doing day one reviews, it sometimes doesn't live up to the game, because there are, like I said, a lot of updates and patches that, you know, fix a lot of the issues that have gone onto the game. We see this happen in almost every game nowadays, how there are a lot of day one, week one patches coming out that are trying to better fix the game, and we start seeing improvements, but the reviews have already been coming out talking crap about it. So that's why I decided to wait. Feel like it was good to finally put it out. Do I think you should buy it for Christmas? My opinion, yes, especially since the price did go down to $40, and you could possibly buy a used one for even cheaper, maybe $30 if you can. I feel like it's worth it. I feel like if you love the racing scene, if you miss the old Underground series or the Underground style of Need for Speed, I feel like Need for Speed 2015, the reboot, was a really good one. I feel like it will be very worth the purchase. So now it's all up to you. If you want it, you can pick it up. If you don't, that's just you. Hope you enjoyed the video. Till next time, this has been your boy Taking Heat, and I'm out. Peace.